Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's the best warm-up act I've ever had. I was asked by Lucy to tell my story. And, you know, there are so many interesting people here tonight. You know, this has been a really entertaining table to sit on, exchange stories, and wow, have they got some fantastic stories. So I feel very humbled. I've just got a plain and simple story. I did say to Fiona a few weeks ago, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that I would be an after-dinner speaker in the House of Lords? And Fiona looked at me and said, darling, it's a long time since you've featured in my wildest dreams. So, storytelling. I'm of an Irish heritage, and in Ireland years ago, there used to be the culture of the storyteller. My father was a storyteller, a Shawnee, and he used to go around telling these stories, entertaining people. So I asked him, what makes an entertaining story? And he said, you need a beginning, an end. They're full of heroes and heroines. There has to be some public interest, or human interest, sorry, and it doesn't need to be too long. So I'll try and fit all of that in tonight. I've been asked to talk about my kidney cancer story, but it's just been alluded there. It's not my kidney cancer story, it's our kidney cancer story. We went through this as a family. It had significant impact on everybody involved. And I don't know how I would have gotten through all the events without the help of my family. One thing I have learned is everybody is different. Everybody deals with this illness differently, reacts differently, and we're all products of our own environment. And it's made me look at my environment and how did I cope with the diagnosis, getting through, getting back to work and being driven. And has anybody here seen the programme called Shameless? Yeah? Okay. So when I was 16, I went into a factory in West Gorton in Manchester, and that's where Shameless was set and filmed. The jockey, I used to go across there, was a real pub. I used to play pool in there and drinking underage during the 16-year-old lunchtime breaks. So that year, 16 to 17, oh my God, did I grow up. Yeah, I did a lot of growing up in that area of Manchester. But it kind of made the person that you are. It set a fantastic foundation. It gave you work ethic, it gave you drive, determination, and there's a better way. And with that, I've become an engineer. I became a project manager and now a managing director of a construction, engineering and construction company. Your family make you as well. I'm proud of my Irish heritage. I met and married Fiona. We've got two older children, Joseph and Anna, and our youngest children, 16, Patrick and Luke, and they're severely autistic. So 2 years old, when you're told that your children are autistic with learning difficulties, that puts a strain on life. It gives you something else to deal with. However, if you've got the courage and conviction, it's just another issue that you have to build on and move forward with. Okay, Saturday the 23rd of April 2016 is etched on my mind. And it's not because Manchester City beat Stoke 4-0. I got up, I was working in the garden, and after a few hours of physical labour, I went to the loo. And I looked down in the loo and said, somebody's poured some red wine down the toilet. Who's done that? Yeah. And I carried on the loo and realised that I was passing blood and filling the toilet up with blood. That was the first shock of many over the next few weeks. So Monday morning I went to the doctor, and he said, you need to go for a blood test tomorrow and a series of tests. I said, well, I can't go for a blood test tomorrow. I'm on the first train out of Manchester down to London. When I finish there, I'm flying out of London City Airport to go to Glasgow. I'm not back in Manchester till Thursday. Do you think you can fit me in on Friday? He said, you are going to for a blood test tomorrow. Work and wait.
I put it off for weeks.
And I've created a new relationship with work. You know, you have to look at, if you can't take responsibility for your own health, and through this illness, the ability to recover, drive, get strong again and return to normality, yeah, comes from your head, your heart and from within. And you've got to take ownership of how you deal with this, this dreadful disease. So then I got on the cycle of a series of tests. The next weekend I was in agony. I walked into a local walk-in centre, and the locum said, you've just passed kidney stones. That's what the pain was, and you've just passed kidney stones. It'll be okay now. You've passed them, and they only come at that one time, and you won't get them again. You might reoccur in a number of years, but you'll be okay. And people say that for a male, the closest thing to experiencing the pain of childbirth is passing kidney stones. Well, it's about 18 months ago since I had kidney stones, and there's no way I'm looking at Fiona and say I quite fancy another one now. Okay, but what actually happened is the 3 bouts of kidney stones that I passed in 48 hours, which is slightly painful. I had a tumour on my kidney, and the exertion in the garden had torn the tumour from the kidney, and the blood was from the bleed, and then there were solids passed through the ureter that were leaving the kidney and the tumour, so that's why I was in the pain. On the 7th of May, one of the pre-planned tests was a cystoscopy, and I had a different reaction to you, Nicholas, when I was told, that day you told you've got cancer. It did hit me hard that particular day, and I never knew, being an engineer, I'm not a medical person, I didn't know what the left-hand side of the brain did or the right-hand side, but my experience was, that day when I was told I had kidney cancer, I understood what the left-hand side of the brain did and the right-hand side of the brain. It was like a Tom and Jerry cartoon where you've got the devil and the angel on either side. On the left-hand side, my brain is saying, keep calm, ask questions, what's wrong, when will your operation be, what will your recovery be? On the right-hand side, I had the tsunami coming in saying, panic, run, cry, and a whole host of emotions. That was the emotional side of the brain. I managed to stay calm, get my questions out, stayed cool during the consultation, walked out the door, and it's a little bit like here, if you shut that door now, you need Hansel and Gretel to find your way back to the toilets. I got lost in the hospital. I was an hour from leaving the consultation, shutting the door, wandering around the hospital, trying to find my car, trying to find where my car parking ticket was, where do you find to pay. All those things that you do simply and automatically in life. The day I was told I had cancer, yeah, my brain went to mush. Then I had to go home and tell the family. So I was dreading going home. I was the breadwinner, I was the provider, I was the hunter-gatherer. And the first heroine in the stories is Fiona, who looks after our family so well. She was already a stretch carer with the 2 boys, and I was going to provide an additional burden. But Fiona looked at me and she said those 3 little words that people love to hear when they're facing a crisis. National Health Service. I then had to tell my extended family, my mother, brothers, and my mother, an Irish woman of 80 now, said, "Oh, did I never tell you? Your father had kidney cancer." And then we found out that my father's sister had passed away in the 60s of cancer, of kidney failure, it was called then. And her daughter at 40 passed away from kidney issues. I've got 5 brothers. Immediately I told them all to get checked out. One went to the GP, said he was okay. And earlier this year, from a scan of a football injury, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he's had his cancer out in the last 3 months. So there is a genetic flaw in our family, which is highly unusual. However, we've been given that. Second heroine I met was Hazel Warburton, my consultant. And there must be a bond between the people that save your lives and treat you. This is a busy woman on the National Health, but whenever you go and see her, you sit down and you are the most important patient in the world. She suggested that I went on the pre-ops course at University Hospital South Manchester that educates people in what to expect before, during and after the operation. That was superb. If people want to take a little bit of responsibility for the condition and recovery, that is a superb course to go on. And as you can probably tell, I've not lost my sense of humour. Some of you might have thought, is this the kidney cancer patient or the northern comedian? Well, I am the kidney cancer patient. But when I was admitted to hospital, they did the MRSA test, and there were these two nurses. And they said, we're now going to do the MRSA test, and we're going to get this one swab, and we're going to swab your rectum, your groin, and your nose. And I said, if you're going to use one swab, could you do it the other way around, please? So I was admitted into hospital, and I had a laparoscopic nephrectomy. Now, if we all compared scars here, I'd be bragging that I've got the smallest scar. Yeah.
He's got to be.
And but what actually the tumour and the kidney came out, and it was the size of a small Hovis loaf. So it was pretty massive. And that came out in vacuumed into a plastic bag and came out of a scar about that big. So amazing what these talented people can do. And in this country, we treat these talented people in the NHS as a political football. It's an absolute disgrace. There are so many unsung heroes and heroines in that organisation. And the people I met, each and every one of them were a credit. And they play massive parts in everybody's story that turns to that organisation in their hour of need. Yeah, and the wonderful aftercare. The aftercare was fabulous. More and more heroes and heroines. At a post-operative event, that's where I first met Lucy, and she's asked me to do a number of these things for Kidney Cancer UK. I've met some fantastic people. Jonathan has terminal brain cancer, and he was a personal trainer, and he set up Macmillan Active with the Manchester Giants basketball team. And Jonathan runs a health and fitness club in Manchester to rehabilitate people that have gone through any form of cancer. And you know, it's heartwarming to see 70-year-old women that have gone through kidney cancer wanting to rehabilitate and pumping iron in the gym. It's an amazing sight. But everybody's different. Everybody deals with these challenges in a different way. I do know that cancer has transformed my life in a strange way. It's made me a better person. It's made me a healthier person. Nicholas was talking about the running. I've done run 5k, 10k. I've learned to run again. And one of my Irish cousins said, Jesus, that cancer's great. He said, you were never any good running when you were a child. So there's a relationship with cancer. We're not a victim. And there's a desire to help others. And There was a story when I was a child that they told at school, and it was a Christian story about the 10 lepers. 10 got cured and only one went back to say thank you. And as a child I thought that was very, very strange. Why didn't everybody go back and say thank you? But as an adult, I've realised it's difficult to say thank you properly, and genuinely mean that thank you. It is difficult. And I'd like to thank Lucy and Kidney Cancer UK to allow me to say thank you properly. I give my time to help them. When I turn up at conferences, that's a way of saying thank you. When you've asked me to go to the drug companies. So that's the end of my story. There's been a beginning, a middle, an end. It's been full of heroes and heroines. Hopefully it's been short and not kept you too long, and you'll enjoy your evening. And maybe my dad's looking down as the Irish Shawnee and thinks, well, he's inherited the gift of the storyteller as well as the cancer gene that I've passed on. Thank you very much.